All right, going to continue on, okay, with the next slide. So again, we have a rational function. We want to find the x-intercepts and points of discontinuity. So the first thing I need to do is factor both the numerator and the denominator. All right, so I get f of x equals, on top I got to take out that x. All right, and then when I do that, I could also factor the quadratic pattern now. So what multiplies up to -8 and adds up to -2, so that's going to be x minus 4 and x plus 2. On bottom, all right, I could take out a 2. That's my GCF. And when I factor that, now it's going to be what multiplies up to -3 and adds up to -2. So that's going to be x minus 3, x plus 1. All right, so now if you look, nothing is going to cancel out. So there are no holes. So I know my x-intercepts. All right, I'm going to have 3 of them, 0, 0. That's also my y-intercept. Positive 4, 0. And -2, 0. Okay, I'm going to have 2 vertical asymptotes on this one. All right, so that's going to be at x equals 3 and x equals -1. All right, so I found all my points of discontinuity. I found my x-intercepts. Okay, so now you can start graphing. I'm going to plot those points. All right, so 0, 0 was a point. 4, 0. And -2, 0. All right, and then my x-intercepts were positive 3 and -1. So I'm going to draw a vertical asymptote at -1, just a dashed line. And then at positive 3. All right, so this one's going to have 3 parts to it. All right, I've already found the y-intercept, so I don't need to do that, but I do need to find points to the left of this, of the asymptote at -1. I need to find points in between the 2 asymptotes, and I need to find points to the right. All right, so this graph has 3 different parts to it. All right, so if I plug in -3, okay, I want to find f of 3, f of -3. All right, and again, if it's easier for you, you can use this, right? If I plugged in -3, right, -3 times -7 times -1, you could do that, right? Or you could plug it in, okay, to everything here. And so if I plugged in -3, -3 cubed is -27. 3 squared is 9, so that's -18. And then -3 times 8, so that's going to be +24. So that's going to add up to -21. And on bottom, -3 squared is 9, so that's 18 plus 12 minus 6. That's going to be 24. So that's -7/8. All right, so that's there. So that's going to look like this graph is going to be coming this direction. Okay. Like I hit that a little bit better. All right. So now I need to figure out what's going on in the middle. So I already know 0, 0. So let's plug in 1 and let's plug in 2. So I need to find f of 1. Okay, so I'm just going to plug it in. Okay, and then I need to plug in f of 2 as well. All right, so if I plug in 1, this can be 1 minus 2 minus 8 on top. On bottom, it's going to be 2 minus 4 minus 6. So I'm going to get negative 9 on top. I'm going to get negative 8 on bottom. It's positive 9 eighths. Okay, so that's going to be a little bit over 1. Now if I plug in 2, right, so this graph could be coming up all the way or it could be turning back down. Right, so I got to plug in another point. I don't know what it's doing here. So if I plug in 2, we can get 2 cubed is 8. Okay, minus 2 times 2 squared is minus 8. Minus 16. And then 2 squared is 4. 4 times 2 is 8. Okay, 4 times 2 is 8. Minus 6. So I'm going to get negative 16 over negative 6, which is positive. Okay, 2 and 2/3. So that's up here. And so that's going to tell me that this graph is going to look something like that in between. All right, so this one over here, it's probably going to be symmetrical here. I'm going to plug in 5. Okay, let's see what I get when I plug in 5. All right, so I plugged in 5. I got 35 over 24, so that's 1 and 11, 24, so that's going to be bigger than 1 up here. So that's going to tell me that this graph over here looks like this. All right, so now I've got a graph. To again, remember, if you need to do more points, go ahead and do as many points as you need to see the graph. Okay, let's compare. How do we do? Got the 3 parts, it's going up. It's a pretty good job there. All right, so what's our domain going to be? Well, it's just all real numbers except those vertical asymptotes. So all real numbers except negative 1 and positive 3. So in interval notation, all right, we're going to go negative infinity to negative 1, union, negative 1 to 3, union, 3 to infinity. All right, remember everything's parentheses because it's never actually equaling that. All right, so this is the you do part on your own here. So if you get stuck, you can continue watching this video. So we need to factor everything. So f of x is going to equal we take out an x, factor the quadratic that's left up there. So what multiplies up to 6 and adds up to negative 5? That's going to be negative 3 and negative 2. X minus 3, x minus 2. On bottom, I'm going to take out negative 3, x, and that's going to leave me with x minus 2. All right, so right away, I'm going to see things that are going to cancel out. The x minus 2's are going to cancel out. The x is going to cancel out. So my most simplified version of my function is x minus 3 on top over negative 3, which is just a linear function. That's just, right, that's negative 1/3 x plus 1. I got a slope of negative 1/3. I got a y-intercept of 1, but I do have holes. All right, I have a hole at 0, and I have a hole at 2. So I need to find, okay, so I have a hole at x equals 0 and 2. So I need to plug those into my simplified version and find those. So what is f of 0 in the simplified version? That's just 1. It's f of 2 in the simplified version. It's negative 2/3 plus 1, so that's just 1/3. So I have a hole. My hole is 0, 1, which happens to be my y-intercept as well, but now there is not a y-intercept because the hole is there. Yeah, on the graph it's going to look like the y-intercept, but it's not. And then 2, 1/3. So I need to draw an empty circle at 0, 1. I need to draw an empty circle at 2 and 1/3. And then this is just a line that goes through those points. All right, so it looks like a line, but it has 2 holes in it. All right, so the domain would be all real numbers except 0 and 2. All right, on the next slide, they want me to type in the simplified version. All right, so that was f of x, okay, equals, that was x minus 3 over negative 3. Okay, and then I want to draw my holes there. Okay, so my holes were 0, 1. Again, we make that an empty circle. All right, and then it's 2, 1/3. Again, we want to make that an empty circle as well. Make it red, empty circle. All right, so there we go. Don't know why that point is there. All right, well, I'm going to have to go back in and fix the activity. That should not be there. All right, so the 2 holes are 0, 1, 2, and 1/3. All right, last one. Let's go ahead and factor this guy out. I'm going to take out an x on top, and then it's a quadratic. It'll be x minus 4, x plus 1. And then on bottom, I'm going to take out a 3. And that's going to leave me with x squared minus 4, which is x plus 2, x minus 2. All right, so nothing's going to cancel out. Okay, so I have no holes. But my x-intercepts, I have 3 of them. Okay, and that's going to be 0, 0, 4, 0, and negative 1, 0. So I can plot those right now, negative 1, 0, 0, 0, and 4, 0. I'm going to have 2 vertical asymptotes at negative 2, x equals negative 2, x equals positive 2. So I could draw those. All right, so now I just need to take some time to plug in some points to see what's going on over there and over here. So I'll pause the video and get through that work. Okay, so after plugging in some points, I got that negative 3, it's going to be negative 2.8, negative 6 is going to be negative 3.125. So that's going to tell me that this graph is doing this. F of 1, we got 2/3, which tells me this is going to almost look like a parabola in here. It's not exactly a parabola, but it's not symmetrical. All right. And then F of 3, I got -4/5. So it looks like that's going to be looking like that. And then we want to type in our simplified version here. So look back at my work here. Remember, nothing canceled out, so it was x times x minus 4 times x plus 1 on top. And then on bottom, it was 3 times x plus 2x minus 2. So you can see it's the same graph. And again, how do I just draw my asymptotes? Again, x equals -2. You want to make that a dashed line. Hold that down. Make that purple. We want x equals +2. Down, dashed purple. All right, and so we don't have any holes in this one, but that's our work.